I think growing up in public school made an illusion of what friendship really was. Growing up, I really only had one friend that I hung out with outside of school. So, yeah, maybe that kind of does sum up why I have a self-help channel now, but honestly, I didn't mind it at the time. I would rather have one real or core friendship than to have a bunch of acquaintances that don't really know who I am, or I have to pretend to be somebody else. I had friends that I would talk to online on Xbox or like on Fortnite or whatever after school. And those, to be honest, were probably the best friends that I really could have had at the time because we actually connected on something that we wanted or chose to do. We chose to play video games. Yeah, maybe that wasn't, I don't know, the best thing for a developing mind, but it was so much better than only having to be friends with somebody because you're sitting next to them in math class and, you're bored together. Now that I'm a little bit older, or as we're older, I think that work is seemingly becoming more and more like high school. It's low-key the same drama, the same stories, and the same patterns. I was very picky with my friendships and who I was connected with during middle school and high school. And a little bit of it came from the fact that I wasn't so popular, which is fine, but I still didn't want to be friends with certain people who did bad things or that would make me feel like the bad person in the friendship. When I was 19, I had found some friends from work that were my age, and we decided to become friends outside of work. We hung out, went to clubs, and I met one of their parents. Life was good, and our friendship thrived until I quit. Right after I quit, I noticed how the dynamic changed. I was clinging on to some type of connection, a connection that they had and I didn't, the connection that they had because they worked together. I lost my friend group like 2 months after I quit. I don't think someone becomes your friend just because you guys work together. You know that saying about like proximity? How you can start to have mutual feelings towards someone just because you spend so much time with them. I think this is how some work friendships go. Like most theories, there are black swan events. There are those magical friendships that last 2, 3, 4 years after you guys have worked together. I just haven't really gotten to experience that quite yet. Work drama carries into the friendship. And if you're working in an environment that's toxic or an environment that you perceive as toxic, there's a chance that the other person's going to be toxic as well. Now, this is not always the case, but I find it hard to tell people parts of my life that don't make it back to another person. If you decide to have no friends outside of work, just be prepared for a High School Musical. Certain coworkers make everything a problem. And I get it. It's human. And not everyone can perceive things with the highest value or with the best intent. But I still think that work drama is the dumbest thing. Like, how low does your life have to be to try and manipulate or start rumors? It'll be the dumbest rumor based on a wrong interpretation too. Imagine I'm having a bad day and somebody asks me to do something or tell me to do something, but because I'm in a bad mood, they take it personally. They create an entire story around that experience instead of asking how I'm feeling or even just having empathy, just looking at my face and being like, all right, I'll tell somebody else. I mean, I get it. It's not your job to do. You don't have to be a therapist or you don't have to psychoanalyze everybody. I don't even know if that's how you say the word, but you don't have to do that. But it's also not your job to spread rumors. It's also not your job to be like, oh, they're having a bad day or a bad week. They must be mad at me. So you know what? They're mad at me. Okay, I'm going to be mad at them. To be honest, avoiding work drama is almost inevitable. But sometimes you got to be the person to understand where you are in the situation. When I worked at my warehouse job in the past, I was hit on by someone who was already messing around with somebody else at the job. Now, first of all, I was never going to date somebody or be with somebody in my workplace. But someone else, let's just call him Z, started rumors about me. I didn't even like the person that I was getting hit on by. I actively tried to avoid the situation over and over again, and it didn't work. The whole situation got brewed up, and eventually I quit my job because of the situation. Now, honestly, I'm glad that it happened because I hated this job. I hated working at the warehouse. I was working overnight. But I give this example to say this. Sometimes you're going to be pulled down into drama for no reason. Someone will like you or dislike you for a reason that you can't even conceptualize because they're living in their own world. And you sort of have to just let it go. But in this case, never talk about it with somebody else at work. Talk to your friends about it outside of work. And if you don't have friends, I'll make a video on how to get friends soon. But if you don't have friends, just talk about it with yourself, honestly. The next thing you have to do is stop with the fake scenarios. And this doesn't even have to just be advice for workplace drama. This is advice for everyday life. Stop trying to guess what other people are thinking of you or how you show up. And stop trying to negate rumors. I know most people that are watching this are probably in a similar situation. So if you do have somebody at work that's very irritating, and this is also something that I need to hear, is play into the role. Just play into the role they give you. And I know it sounds crazy, but there's something so freeing about just being yourself and having people get upset about it. If somebody lacks the intelligence to communicate their emotions or concerns, then so be it. You're going to have to freaking be the worst person in the world. The worst thing that you can do is ruminate over something that isn't going to really matter in the grand scheme of things. Listen, if you're in high school or in college and you're going to work to get a little bit of money on the side, good for you. But if you have to work so you can pay your bills, it's a very different life that you live. And people want to sabotage your job. Not all people. I don't want to, group people and say it's everybody in your job, because a lot of times you can find good people. The reason why they want to sabotage your job is because it makes it easier for them to have more drama in their life, something to talk about. Unless everybody in the job hates you and you also hate the job, then honestly, you gotta just push through. There's gonna be some weird people you meet at work, and if you decide to trust them, which you should, the trust should be built over time. But if you do decide to trust them, you gotta leave them where they're at. Sometimes that trust is broken. Sometimes the person you started to get close with starts to distance themselves from you. Or maybe after a few months, you guys naturally take apart in another section of work and you don't get to see them as much. No matter what, everything that you trusted them with them stays with them. So I think an important part is to learn what is safe for work and what is not. I think work drama starts with a person who doesn't know how to communicate effectively. They see one person do something and they don't like it. And instead of going up to that person, telling them, hey, bro, I didn't like the way you did X, Y, and Z, they turn around and start babbling and yapping with somebody else. And then both of these people just have resentment towards a single person. Because I've watched this happen where there's two people gossiping about another person, and then I watch it happen when there's two people gossiping about me. If you watch my "You Rather Be a Slave Than a Master" video, you would understand how this one person is assuming the victim. I'm the type of person who likes to communicate. I don't mind confrontation, but I don't like over communicating. If I tell you to talk to me and there's a problem, and then you decide to be like, you know what? I don't like confrontation. So what I'm going to do is tell everybody else but me. Then I'm not going to tell you to ask me for help. I'm just going to ignore you. You're just going to be weird to me. And you're just going to be this person that, other people just go to for drama. This isn't high school, but people act like it is. And you, high key, you gotta not hold yourself on a pedestal too. This could be you. You could be the person who is starting the work drama. And I think self-evaluation and self-awareness and understanding that you might have a communication problem, because I've had a communication problem and I needed an intervention with some of my friends that, you need to communicate better. And I became a really good communicator after this. So hopefully I'm interventing somebody else who's watching this video and saying, hey, maybe you need to learn confrontation and stop going to people who you feel safe with. I know a person who actually recently sabotaged a good job because of lack of communication. They made up scenarios in their head which came from, parts of truth. This person was a little bit weird, or this person was a little bit awkward, or this person was a little bit angry, or obsessive, or fake. But when you exaggerate the heck out of it because all you know is work, 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 you start to self-sabotage. Your brain starts to make up stories in order for you to leave. And this is exactly what this person did. They left a good job or a decent paying job because they just couldn't accept other people's indifference. Again, I don't think more money will make a shitty job less shitty or over communication. And I also think over communication won't help. But sometimes, myself included, you leave a decent job because of the team. I'm not a doctor and I'm not a psychologist, so I don't know exactly how to solve other people's problems. But the one thing I've learned, or not the one thing, but there's 3 things that I've learned to do in a workplace. The first thing is to distance yourself from people who always talk about other people. They're gonna start gathering information against you if you decide to confide in them. The second thing is to do your job very well, more than what you get paid for. And this is a little different because you're sort of tricking your mind to believe that this is a good job. If you're working to pay bills, it's different than if you're working for an extra shirt or to go out with your friends. If you tell yourself or you kind of manipulate your brain and be like, no, I'm staying here because I don't trust myself. Like, for example, for me, let's just say I had work drama at the place that I'm working at, but I have to work there because I'm not willing to go and sacrifice my living or my schooling by leaving the job because other people are creating drama. And unless I'm forced out, unless the boss is like, we don't need you anymore, I'm not going to assume a victim, right? I'm not going to be the person who's like, oh my goodness, everything is against me, and self-sabotage my job, no matter how difficult it gets, because I have to go and pay bills. And you might be in the situation, and if you're not in the situation yet, listen to the rest of the story or rewatch the video because you might be in the situation in the future. Do not sabotage a job that pays you just because other people are making it harder for you. Every single work environment is based off of the people that you work with. And even if it's the hardest job in the world, if you're surrounded by good people, it'll be easier. Even if it's the easiest job in the world, if you're surrounded by hard people or hard-headed people, it'll be freaking hard. The third, find somebody else outside of work to talk about work with. And I find that this advice actually works both ways. Let's just say you have a club. For me, I'm in a club right now and I have friends in that club. If I have problems at work and I have friends in a club that don't know my coworkers, I can confide in them. It doesn't necessarily have to be a club. It can just be a friend that you know from somewhere else, from anything. And you can do this with work too. And I've figured that this is also a safe for work topic as well. Let's just say I'm in a club. Let's just say it's a chess club, because I'm obviously big brain to be in chess club. And I have a problem with one of the nerds in chess club, right? And I'm like, all right, I can't talk about it with anybody else in the club because I really like this, moving pieces on a board. I have to go to work, and you know what? I'm going to talk about my chess club problems at work just so I can have something to talk about, just so people will start rumors about you for being too quiet. That's how high school work can get. And even if you do nothing wrong, you can be pulled into drama. I've worked in really small places where they pulled me into drama, and really big places too. So size, in this case, might not even matter. I would say be careful with work friends. Don't think that everybody is your friend. You'll start to figure out how to kind of operate in the workspace. And don't think it's like middle school. Don't think it's like high school where you guys are just going to be friends. And then the next year, it is kind of like middle school. It is kind of like high school, but you will find friends, and then next year you won't be friends anymore, and you might start drama, or drama might start within you. In the future, when I have a stronger friend group, I feel like it'll be a different interpretation of how work works. But for now, keep a stiff arm between work and friends.